Raptors HQ franchise here with Sasha Kalra, Canadian basketball expert Ray Bala, and we are going to talk some draft, talk about some Raptors prospects. We're through the first few days in the tourney, and I wanted to get sort of everyone's take on who's impressed, who's disappointed. Sasha, kick it off.
Well, in terms of disappointments, I'm pretty sure I know what you're going to say. But I'm going to say the University of Connecticut in general. Jeremy Lamb, Andre Drummond, those were guys that I was kind of looking at seeing more from and sort of looking at them from a whole tournament. And I know they had a sort of up and down year, and they were the defending champions, but no one expected them to repeat, obviously. I at least thought they'd win a couple of games, and I'd see something. But no, I guess not. What about you?
Well, you touched on it. Obviously disappointed with Duke going out so early. But you know what? In all fairness, this was not a good Duke team. And one of the guys that disappointed me in terms of Duke, it was Austin Rivers. I think Austin Rivers had a lot of hype, obviously, coming into the season. He's a sort of a strange college to pro athlete in my books, because he's not someone who's necessarily dominated at the college level. I mean, he had a great freshman year, but maybe not up to the expectations some had. Yet he's also, it's a little bit of a question mark as to what he'll do pro-wise, because he's kind of small, he's not great at finishing around the rim in contact. He's got a great first step, but you wonder, would he be better served coming back for a second year? And personally, I thought that he played too much hero ball sometimes, where he was, trying to take on the entire, the entire Lehigh team himself. Unfortunately, I think some of that has to do with the fact that Duke was missing a key guy in Ryan Kelly, who stretched things out for them and created more opportunities. But you wonder at the next level whether Austin Rivers is going to play too much of that. And I was kind of likening to OJ Mayo earlier. Not quite the same build, but not sort of that create off the dribble, explode dunk guy. He's more, great first step, can get to the rim, but also can shoot it from long range. So it'll be interesting to see sort of where he fits, not a one, not a two. Impressed, a lot of impressive performances in this tournament. I think for me, for Raptors fans, I think Bradley Beal's the one guy I wanted to highlight. Sort of a shooting guard that maybe didn't have the year that some expected at Florida. Florida overall maybe didn't, but playing well so far in this tournament. But Bradley, I think what's interesting to me is that he rebounds so well from the shooting guard position, and I think that's something the Raptors could use. I mean, they're a good rebounding team, but in terms of increasing that perimeter defense, getting a better player in terms of both being able to shoot the long-range ball, because we know DeMar struggles in that respect, and then also being able to play, at the other end too is important. And I think right now, that would be sort of my top pick for a shooting guard over Jeremy Lamb, who you touched on, who I did think was a bit disappointing as well. What about you, Ray?
Well, for me, if you read anything I've ever written about these prospects, I love Royce White. Iowa State. If you caught any of his games this year, I don't know if you saw him dribbling the ball up the court as much as he did in the last two games. Mm-hmm. And I think for Raps fans, that's a bonus. He's a big body. He can defend big. He can play small. And for a team without a true point guard outside of Jose, for us, I think an extra ball handler at a position where a guy would be at a disadvantage against Royce would be a bonus. And then plus, he rebounds a little bit. He passes the ball quite a bit.
He does a bit of everything, really.
Yeah. He's as you said earlier, Adam. He's kind of like the opposite of a tweener, big guy with small guard skills, and he'd be great for the Raps. My disappointment personally is Missouri, but Kim English in general. One, because he blew up my player pool, and two, well, I just thought that he'd have a better tournament. He didn't shoot the ball very well. And when you're playing with a four-guard lineup most of the game, a guy like him having a bad game just totally tanked them. Even making one or two shots would have been a benefit. I really thought they would have gone a bit further in the tournament. And I don't want to blame him completely, but I think that a lot of that hinged on him not being the Kim English that we might have seen throughout the whole college season.
Yeah, that Missouri team's interesting. Both him and Marcus Denman, maybe not projected to be super high picks, but guys that, a lot of teams say, we always need a shooter, and both of those guys look like they might be second-round picks, or Denman even a late first-rounder, and now who knows what happens. They may need good workouts, really, to impress.
Exactly, and I think for English with this tournament, it would have been a really good coming-out party. Mm-hmm. He's obviously an elite college player, and if you're a shooting guard that's streaky, for someone like him who's rather skinny, a little smaller than some of the guys in the NBA, maybe not the best defender, though very good. I mean, this would have been a really good time to have him at least have one good game. And I mean, to go out and lose like he did with his team, I mean, maybe not the best, but hey, like you said, a good workout would probably be in order for him to get into the second round, I think, at this point.
The UConn guys, too. I think that's a good point, is now I think everyone wanted to see more from them, like you said. And now it's sort of, you're left with more questions and answers, especially around Andre Drummond, I think, who you look at his size and you think, you know, that's somebody who should be dominating or at least having a major impact each game. And what did I think he had 2 points. What did he have in the loss?
I think it was 2 points.
Yeah.
It was terrible. I mean, Andre Drummond's an interesting guy because, as you said, he's a guy who should, in theory, dominate, but I mean, so should Andre Blatch.
Right.
And it didn't work out for the Wizards.
Good point. So we've talked a lot about some prospects from the first few days of the tournament. Obviously, lots more to talk about. Draft, obviously, with the Raptors, struggling right now, is going to be a central point of discussion, I think, for all of us in the next while. But we'd love to hear your thoughts. Who are some of the prospects you've been impressed by? Who are some players that maybe you think the Raptors should stay away from? Let us know. Give us a shout in the comments.